Welcome back to IT Garage, and today I'm going to give you a quick introduction on my project car. This is a Edsel. It was made by Ford. It's a little weird, and you might not know about it.
The Ford Motor Company would like you to see the beautiful new Edsel, newest member of the Ford family of fine cars.
There's a common misconception that the Edsel was a Ford model. I hear Ford Edsel all the time. However, this was its own brand. Ford was lacking in the medium price range in the 1950s and thought that this was their key to dominating the middle field between Ford and Mercury, competing against GM brands such as Pontiac, Buick, and Oldsmobile, and Mopar brands such as Dodge, DeSoto, and Chrysler. They advertised very heavily for this car. The general public and even dealers didn't know what it looked like until a very short time before they were available for purchase. They were promising all sorts of new features, with the most focused being on the teletouch transmission. The tagline was, "If you can type, you can drive." Other features of the Edsel that were first among automobiles included a self-lubricating suspension, a speed warning light, and a fuel level warning light. Advertising included the Edsel Show. It was an hour-long TV special used to promote the car. Some of the stars were Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, and Bob Hope. Ford figured they had a home run on their hands and expected to sell 200,000 cars in 1958. After the car was unveiled, the media picked apart the car, claiming it looked like an Oldsmobile sucking a lemon, and consumers complained about poor build quality. As a result, in 1958, they sold a mere 68,000 units. The writing was already on the wall about the briefness of the Edsel brand as they merged the Edsel division with Mercury and Lincoln in 1958. Because of the poor sales, 59 was scaled back. They dropped 4 models, and they also dropped some of the gimmicky features, favoring simplicity. The damage was already done. The general public had a bad taste in their mouth about the brand, so the sales dropped even more in 1959 to just over 47,000 units. For the 1960 model year, there were only 2 models available with 7 body style options, dropping from the original 6 models and 18 body style options available in 1958. And all 2,800 of the 1960 Edsels were made in 1959. The 1960 Edsel didn't even make it to its own model year. In the grand scheme, they sold 118,000 units over the lifespan of the brand, just over half of what they expected to sell in the first year. Considering that this brand only stuck around for 3 years, it obviously wasn't a success. There is even a case study surrounding what went wrong and is brought up in marketing classes at universities. In my opinion, it's the perfect example of overpromising and underdelivering. A quote that I heard once sums it up the best. The general public was really disappointed when the car was unveiled that it was just another car with 4 wheels. This 10-year, $250 million investment in the 50s ended up costing Ford over $4 billion today after adjusting for inflation. This Edsel in particular is a 1959 Edsel, which is the middle year there, and this is a Corsair, which is the higher end of the model line. Had a little bit nicer features, more standard options, that sort of thing. I found this Edsel actually not too far from here. Funny enough, we actually drove past this car probably 5 or 10 times, and you didn't even know it was there. It was tucked down behind a house in a barn with a tin roof that was so rust colored it blended into the woods. It was back there for the better half of 40, 50 years. The car was purchased in 1978 by the prior owner, and he never titled it. Well, he titled it, he never registered it. Up here in the front, there'll be a tag you can see that says it's last registered in 71. Even the oil change in 1971 was actually done right over there. I can just about see where it was done. It's been in a local car for a while. It had to be cut out from where it was. There's a pretty big tree that had grown up behind it. So the previous owner and his son tried pulling this out with the restored International tractor. It was beautiful. I felt bad because it was like farm show ready. And they got mud all over it, just trying to pull this car out. It was sunk in the ground so bad. This car, they actually were looking to sell it, even though it wasn't listed for sale, because behind it was a Studebaker, but behind that was a 1966, I believe it was, fastback Mustang. I mean, like, basically bullet, Steve McQueen. I mean, super slick, dark green, all original. Again, been sitting for years and years and years, hidden back in this barn. There's another car that I bought there, which is another Edsel, a 58. But we'll talk about that another day. So let's see what I've done to the car, what's still left to do to the car, and what we can show you guys on this channel. There's not much videos on YouTube around Edsels, especially maintaining and repairing. This has been, you know, swapped. It's not factory fresh, nothing like that, but we saved it from rotting in a barn, and that's kind of the goal here. All right, so like I said, this is the Edsel. I love it. You could say obsessed. I know people are very indifferent on the grill down here. I don't know. It is what it is. I like it a lot. So like I said, this has been swapped. This originally came with a 332 in it, which is one of the smaller big block Fords. It was locked up. It was essentially a boat anchor. As the 2-speed transmission, who knows what condition that was in. I found this on Marketplace for really cheap. It is a 360 Ford big block with a C6 automatic transmission out of a 71 F100. I put a new big radiator in here, got a new battery, and I painted the engine bay, put in a dual pot master cylinder over here instead of the single, and we've done all new brake lines, all new fuel lines, all new brakes as well. And that's kind of where we're at. And then obviously the engine and transmission swap. It did bolt in, but the cross member did not bolt in. So I'm gonna look underneath here for the first time in a while, and you can see that right there, that cross member. That is a Kreitz Performance cross member, come out of Ohio, and it's for these 59 Ford bodied cars, which this is, to put a C6 transmission in there. Bolted in, no problem, just slight modification, but if you're doing engine swaps, you can handle that. This car is redwood metallic, pretty color. It's original up here in the front, and then the inside also redwood metallic. I hope you like red or orange. What color is this? I don't know. But automatic transmission, that right there, I'll zoom in, is probably the worst rust on the whole car, because it was up to dirt right there. That's how far packed down it was. As you can see, this car is not perfect, but that's all right. I love it anyways. Put some Mustang wheels on here. They're on there with spacers. Modern wheels aren't going to fit on this car. The wheels that came on this car when I bought it were a mismatched set. They are rusted. And then after doing a little bit of research, there was only 2 original Edsel wheels on this when we got it. And those are sitting over there. So those are going to go to a home where they'll be much appreciated. But everything's here. All the trim is here. There's a little bit of a smack up here in the front. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but mirror's still there, and the glass is inside. I have that. But you should have seen this thing, and you will see this thing. It was just filthy, absolutely covered. So we took some time cleaning that up. We really got it pressure washed down and taken care of. And here's that 1971 sticker. Pretty cool. But what we have left to do, first thing, we need to adjust the brakes. They need spaced out more. The pedal is firm but soft at the beginning, so I really do believe that the front shoes just need pulled out. After that, we can get to the shifter linkage. The shifter linkage is not hooked up in the car. I found something online on how to put a C6 transmission in these cars with the shifter linkage. It's kind of a universal kit, but it should work just fine. Need to work on the alternator. These cars came with generators originally. The voltage regulator up here on the front, this is still original. Now I do have one over here that is brand new, still in box, and that will replace this. Now in using a generator voltage regulator as opposed to an alternator voltage regulator, there are some differences. So I'm working on nailing that down now. I think I have all the wires run. There's kind of a spaghetti mess right now, but I believe once I replace this voltage regulator, which is most likely original, it should charge the battery as expected. And then after that is the drive shaft. The drive shaft is over here, back behind the wagons. It's just hanging out. It will not fit in this car right now. It needs modified. I'll do a whole video on that. No big deal. And after that, it's just little stuff. I'm making sure the brake lights work, which I put a new switch in, and I did test. They work on the one side, so one side might have a bad ground or whatever. Headlights, I'm not going to worry about wipers just yet. You know, Rain-X is good there. I do need a windshield, actually. We'll see if you guys can see the crack. There's the crack in the windshield. So we're going to have to take care of that, along with that big chunk of missing rubber. So that's going to have to be replaced, which, good news, that is just a 1959 Ford windshield, so not Edsel specific. The only Edsel specific stuff on this car that I'm aware of, the finishings, right? So you have the emblems, the chrome down the side, obviously the letters. And then when it comes to things on the inside, there's, you know, Edsel specific clocks and the dash trim and the steering wheel horn, which on this car is actually pretty nice. I guess to sum this video up, what I'm trying to say is this is going to be on the channel quite a bit. Hopefully going to shows in this, taking Olivia on shows in the wagons that we built previously. So I just want to give you guys a quick little rundown before I made an actual video. Just kind of get the word out in the Edsel pages and the old Ford groups. People that are just interested that there's no content on this stuff. And I hate the word content. I think it's whatever. But we're going to make some content on this car. It's not going to be original specs, obviously, but it's not going to be slammed, and I'm not cutting stuff up either. It's just going to be a cruiser. I mean, it's a four-door sedan, guys. Come on. And I just want to say thanks again for going and watching the videos. It's pretty cool. I didn't think I'd get this many views this fast. Hopefully it continues. I think that's it for now, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. And let me know what you want to see in the comments. Even if it just is what's been done, if you want to see something else done, maybe I can make it happen. Who knows? I'm not an expert. I'm just doing this after work. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Stick around for more videos on this. Let me know what you want to see. Hopefully we can make that happen. Remember, I'm not an expert. And if I can do it, you can do it. All right, thanks, y'all. See you next time. Should I cross my leg or should I leave it uncrossed?
I don't even know if you can really see it. Uncross it? Uncross.
Ladies
and gentlemen,
the Ford Motor Company would like you to see the new styling, the new features of the beautiful new Edsel, newest member of the Ford family of fine cars.
could we see it?
Certainly.
You never saw a car like the 58 Edsel.
Never?
Never.
More new ideas, more you ideas. In the great, exciting new Edsel.
Brake still on?
You can tell in the Edsel when the light goes on.
Engine cold?
You can tell in the Edsel when the light goes on.
Getting low on gas?
You can tell in the Edsel when the light goes on.
May we repeat?
There's never been a car like the 58 Edsel.
This is the way you sit in the Edsel. Contour seats made for three.
This is the way you can drive the Edsel. Tell it, let's drive on the steering wheel, see.
This is the way you can open the trunk. Right on the dash, you turn the key.
Never been a car like the 58 Edsel.
But what about prices?
Many prices. You can get an Edsel price lower than half the models in the low-price 3.
It's the only one that's really different.
The Ford Motor Company built it, so you know it's good.
How does it feel to own an Edsel?
It's like falling in love.
You can read about it, hear about it, but you've got to feel it. Feel the thrill of owning an Edsel. Oh, your step is snappy.
When you own an Edsel,
Your pulse beats happy.
when you drive an Edsel,
'Cause you've got to drive it to feel what this great new car can do for you.
you know why?
It's a car designed around you.